What if Atlantis was more than a myth? What if its rise and fall still lives within our galactic astro chart? And what if Lemuria, its ancient counterpart, never disappeared but re-emerges now through your body's memory as an intact blueprint? These civilizations are not fantasies of a golden past long gone. They are living archetypal templates encoded in us, still influencing how we think, feel, and create today. Atlantis, the realm of sacred knowledge, crystal systems, mastery of frequency and form. Its downfall came through distortion, through overreach, through hubris. Lemuria, the field of unity, earth attunement, and emotional intelligence. A civilization that dissolved, yet transmits coherently through the heart. And now, these two systems, these two streams form an axis across the sky and across our inner lives. On August 1st, 2025, the asteroid Atlantis enters 0° Scorpio. This is, by all means, no casual crossing. This marks a gateway, a return to submerged knowledge through the waters of soul and psyche. Scorpio does not like to operate on the surface. It moves through memory, through shadow and regeneration. It also governs power in hidden layers and purifies what has been manipulated or misused. Atlantis in Scorpio therefore activates a deep karmic recall. Where have you misused your gifts? What power are you now ready to wield responsibly? Which timeline do you remember? Choose, realign, and to achieve mastery with. A rare configuration sharpens this moment. Atlantis forms a yod aspect, also called the finger of God, with Uranus in Gemini in a quincunx, and with retrograde Saturn, Neptune conjunction in Aries, forming a second quincunx, and those three in sextile. This creates pressure through inevitability, a moment that demands choice, and the finger of God points at Atlantis. Uranus in Gemini sends quite some voltage through our minds. They are undergoing a revolution, unstable unless very anchored in ourselves. Flashes of cosmic insight or alien intelligence may arise, but integration requires deep care. The trauma of technological misuse could repeat if we rush without anchoring the wisdom within us. Saturn and Neptune in Aries, both retrograde, is a double-edged sword because Saturn says structure and responsibility, while Neptune says dissolve and dream. And both in Aries, this is pioneer dharma. Actions need to be taken with foresight, and spiritual boldness needs to be supported by humility. Atlantis at the apex point becomes the tuning fork. Its question is quite precise. Will you remember how to channel sacred power and do so in service of creation? Can you wield this power without ego? Can you guide without conquering? This yod implies a fated turning point regarding how humanity integrates spiritual knowledge with responsibility and technological growth. Atlantis holds Atlantis is like the needle point in this karmic acupuncture. It triggers what's latent, but the collective must transmute it with consciousness. So it's a karma dharma energy here. Additionally, a trine from Venus in Cancer supports inner anchoring through devotion, by offering heart-based wisdom, ancestral healing, and emotional maturity, integrity, deep healing through care. And of course, there is a pressure point also. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius squares Atlantis and forces us to examine the tectonics of future systems. It excavates the collective shadow around control, technology, and transhumanism. Atlantis square Pluto is warning of the shadow side of utopia. Where do we replace wisdom with code? AI versus creation. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius squares Atlantis, forcing us to examine the tectonics of future systems, excavating the collective shadow around control, technology, and transhumanism. Atlantis square Pluto is warning, where do we replace wisdom with code? AI versus creation. And where does progress eclipse presence? Is it the Atlantean echo of technological pride that led to collapse and now reawakens in our Aquarian age? This square forces confrontation with the question, how far are we willing to go for control? And are we willing to pay the full price? And there is more. This ingress activates a configuration I've been researching for months, and what emerged might surprise you. There is no asteroid or official celestial body called Lemuria, and yet, in every chart I studied in the past few weeks, its energetic counterpoint to Atlantis emerged clearly. It's a consistent feature in the charts of those with deep soul memory of pre-cataclysmic fall of Atlantean consciousness. It marks the field where crystalline knowledge and earth knowing interlock. So I traced it to a theoretical axis, like the nodal axis in our chart. Atlantis at 0 Scorpio is therefore Lemuria at 0° Taurus. Taurus, a sign of earth connection, embodiment, presence mirrors the Lemurian frequency. It holds the ancient imprint of a civilization rooted in harmony with earth. This Lemuria Atlantis axis is my own astrological proposition. It's based on patterns I've seen repeatedly in client work and in their soul charts, and so far it holds. And I would like to know from you in the comments how this idea of mine resonates with you, especially if you do Atlantis and Lemuria research. The narrative deepens further on August 8, 2025. Asteroid Atlantis conjuncts the Shapley Attractor, a galactic focal point of immense significance, the most gravitationally potent zone in our visible universe. This holds a lot of symbolism because astrophysics meets soul memory. Located in the early degrees of Scorpio, the Shapley point in our chart is likely the area of life where you are being drawn to embody your most authentic self, where you are asked to live in alignment with your true soul essence without pretense or compromise. It's also where soul embodiment may come most naturally and powerfully. When this alignment is honored, it often brings attention, resonance, or rewards us beautifully. And it activates not only the house in which it is located, but also its opposite, and potentially your entire field of experience. Atlantis meeting Shapley on this day marks a turning point. How will you now channel power with integrity? How will you ground the gifts of past civilization in service to the whole? And across from it, the Lemuria point in Taurus is grounded in Earth. We are standing at the axis of two civilizational blueprints: technological mastery versus organic attunement, strategy versus presence, control versus inner knowing. This is a decision point for all of us collectively, but in the first place, individually. This alignment opens the gates for crystalline transmission through the gravitational pull of the Shapley Attractor, cellular remembrance of timelines seeded before the separation, a choice to stabilize this memory here and now through this human body. What we choose now matters. And you are not separate from these dynamics. You are an active player in the field. So this is a call to stand in soul memory without spiritual bypassing, but in harmonic resonance. Reclaim technologies of consciousness in alignment with the whole. Embody a path where your ancient knowledge moves through your system, and recognize the timelines you are interwoven with and make them useful here. If this speaks to you, I invite you to go deeper. Come and gift yourself a Galactic Astrology session with me. I now include the Atlantis Lemuria axis in every reading. Together, we will trace how these forces show up in your personal soul chart. You will receive insight into your soul journey, your galactic lineages, timelines of past embodiment, and the very specific invitation that this life holds for you. You are not starting from scratch. You are remembering. It's the key to your mission here and now. And if you feel the call to unlock your ancient knowledge, join me for the call. Join me for the launch of my Galactic Astrology School beginning on August 28th, 2025. This is going to be a living transmission space. It's rooted in Atlantean spiritual architecture and Lemurian heart-based intelligence. You'll learn to read and translate galactic charts for yourself, for your loved ones, and for others. You are not learning information from the outside. You are decoding what you already brought here. Over 1 year, you'll develop a grounded and creative way to read galactic astrology charts, a direct connection to your star lineage and soul memory, a living sense of how Lemurian and Atlantean codes move through your system, and the ability to perceive and decode cycles, patterns, and galactic alignments in a precise and embodied way. This is a model for sharing your wisdom in service to others. Let remembrance become your mastery. Atlantis enters Scorpio. Lemuria holds the ground for us. The field is active and memory becomes direction. You are the bridge.